Oh, there she is. Hi, Kim.
Hi, how are you, Samantha?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us today on episode 6 of our Spotlight interviews. So, welcome to, again, episode 6, Inventor Spotlight from our Inventor Smart community. Kim, you have been a member with the Inventor Smart community and the National Inventor Club for quite some time now, and we'll get into a little bit more about that, but we definitely want to welcome you. I'm so impressed with your product. And I do have to tell you that the serendipity sometimes of how something can happen, a conversation that you have many years ago, and then it comes into this moment. And so I was with a friend of mine, and I'm going back probably 15 years. And he swears that he invented a product very, very much like yours, right? In his mind. Right. And then he saw it on the market years later when I think you blew up and you had a lot going on. And he was telling me about it. And I go, and I just gotten into inventing. And I said to him, I go, this is why inventors have to move on their product. If you have an idea, you have to act upon it. So I'm really proud of you. And I'm really impressed with you moving forward. You put your product together. And so I'm going to be quiet and let you tell us all about it. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it has been a super duper fun journey, and it was just a brainchild. I actually invented Click and Carry, and by the way, this is Click and Carry. It's a simple handle device that helps shoppers to manage and carry multiple bags at once comfortably, either in the hands or over the shoulder. And I'll quickly show you how it works, just to give a quick visual. But you twist it open and you load handle bags onto each side, and it's any bag with a handle, plastic, paper, canvas, your purse. Then once you get all the bags in, and the key is to evenly distribute the weight, you twist the top back into place, and you can either carry it in your hand because there's comfy gel, or better, you can wear your groceries and your hands free. And the interesting part is I invented it for groceries, but people use it for so many other reasons. For example, it's used as a ski boot toe or for dry cleaning, paint cans and construction pails. You can walk multiple dogs at once. And then once you get it home, you could actually, I don't have my phone ready, but I'll pop it out right now so I could show you. Once you get it home, it's actually a stand for your phone or your iPad. You just do this, you twist it open, and you can put your phone in there. So you could use it all the way around the house. And I have some fun new uses coming and a couple of fun new inventions. But the reason I invented it is similar to your friend. I just couldn't stand bringing in the groceries. I lived in a condo in Los Angeles, and in the past, I would just have my boyfriend come and grab all the groceries. But when we broke up, I had to carry my own groceries. So I knew there had to be a better way. I stopped grocery shopping altogether. So I had to change that. And Click and Carry came into being. In fact, this is what the current packaging looks like. But the original Click and Carry was just the bottom section. And it worked perfectly because it had the curvature for the shoulder. But the problem is when you set it down, the bags would pop out. So my next iteration was with a magnet, but I knew people would lose one of two pieces. So 9 iterations later, I found the winner. And then I filed for 2 utility patents. The first one took about 3 years. The second one about 18 months. The Patent and Trademark Office is a little faster now. But that's been the journey. And we're also selling bundled sets with the Click and Carry and reusable bags. And the new invention should be coming, I'd say, by Q4.
That's incredible. What a great growth you've just described from your original thought. I'm tired of carrying groceries. Me and my boyfriend broke up. What am I going to do? Right. Which I think that's just adorable. That's just funny. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. So, and I think every shopper of groceries, because I think initially you just said groceries, right? I mean, I can't tell you as a mom growing up with my son and how many grocery bags we would carry in, or he'd come out and I'm watching him struggle and carry. So I think, the fact that you thought of it and pushed through and designed it after many variations, obviously. What is your background?
So at the time, I was working for Medtronic. It's a medical device company. I always worked in neurology. I started in pharmaceuticals and then went into medical device sales. So I was working in deep brain stimulation. It's a completely different industry, but I had some spare time, and this was my brainchild. And actually, one of my neurologists looked at me one day after me telling her all about it and drawing pictures of it for her. She said, will you shut up and stop talking about it and do something about it? So I did. And it's amazing how many useful resources there are in the community. I actually hired her neighbor, who at the time was studying product design at the Pasadena Design School. She had access to a 3D CAD printer, so I hired Audrey and to help me with the 3D CAD print and creating the model, and then it was born there. So that's when the 9 iterations came into play. And once I had a winner, I made a mold. I knew that I had to find out if it was actually a working design, and unfortunately it wasn't. So we had to re-engineer that. And then when I did find the winner, that's when I filed for my first patent.
I love this because you're touching on a couple of things here, right? You're telling somebody at work and they're like, look, enough already. Just do something with it. And just so ironically, and what a coincidence, she happens to know someone who can serve a need that you need right there. So I love this because I'm like, pay attention to what's around you. Take risks. Tell somebody. Talk about it, right? Take that small baby step forward. And I like to call it just bridges of incidences. So, right? Where then you're connected with somebody. And then you've also just reminded us again, to every inventor out there, the longevity it takes to go through concept to design to prototypes to modify to do it again. I mean, this is a slow and steady crawl. So tell me what happened when you finally got your product. This is the one. What are we doing?
Oh, it was so exciting. So like I said, the first mold didn't work. And again, it was just a coincidence that a neighbor across the hall worked for the Thai company. They make Beanie Babies and plush toys. Yes. So he hooked me up with his factory, and that's how I was able to make that mold. And quickly to go back, you talked about how we're lucky that someone knows someone. Well, Jennifer, Dr. Jennifer Huey, was at USC, and she's the one who introduced me to Audrey. And my surgeon at USC, Mark Leiker, he's amazing. He's also an aerospace engineer, so he also helped me with the design and thinking things out. So all of my friends were a big help along the way.
It's amazing.
It's pretty cool. Oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay. That's okay.
So one more time.
No, so you finally got your final version that everybody was happy with, and then what progressed after that?
So that's when it all began. It was not an easy slug. I started going to local grocery stores and the farmers market, the Pasadena Rose Bowl. They have a swap meet once a month. So I would sell just to little places and get a bunch of feedback and decide what to do because I was working full time. This was just a side gig.
Sure.
Up until about 3 years ago. So it's always been something on the side, but I was just trying to devise ways to get ahead. And what ended up working for me was actually attending a trade show. It was a very expensive trade show, and it was kind of one last ditch effort.
Sure.
And it was the Home and Houseware show in Chicago. I believe it's called the Home Show now. And they had a section called Inventor's Corner. And by being an attendee in Inventor's Corner, you were allowed to pitch to a panel of judges from different companies. And QVC really liked my product, but they didn't let me know. And what happened is, at the time, Bethany Frankel, the girl who does Skinny Girl Margaritas, and she's quite the entrepreneur and
yes.
Former housewife and guest shark on Shark
Tank. I love her.
Yeah, she's pretty great. So it was the end of her show, and they did a segment once a week called Bethany and Your Business. So they asked me to be on her show, and I was thrilled because I thought I was going to get maybe a $5,000 or $10,000 stipend for my business and some business advice from Bethany.
Sure.
And instead, I ended up getting a contract with QVC. So that was pretty exciting, and I ended up going on QVC about a month later.
Amazing. What was that like? I mean, how do you walk into that studio as a previously as a consumer? We're all familiar with QVC. You're not a lifetime inventor. You've come up with this really cool product, and I'm not diminishing that you didn't put any time, effort, blood, sweat, tears, boots on the ground. I mean, really, you even mentioned, this trade show, this last ditch effort. I think we've been there as inventors. And all of a sudden, I mean, the payoff of this big break, what did it feel like going into that studio? Had to be so exciting.
It was. And I actually filmed with David Venable. So he's basically the big star on QVC, so it was a little bit intimidating, but he's such a nice guy. I remember him calling me Sweet Pea, as a matter of fact. He was just a doll. And he made it easy. And I was always in sales, so I was always presenting. So that wasn't a big stretch. But being in front of the camera, in front of millions of people, that's a little bit scary and intimidating. But otherwise, it was pretty exciting. And I had a great group of people with me. So there are two people in particular, my one sister and my one friend, JJ. She and my sister would always come with me to QVC because you have to bring in all of your stuff and set it up and make your table look beautiful. So I had amazing help, and I had them there to calm me down and to talk sense into me and,
Listen, I'm just thrilled for you. I mean, I think that's just an incredible accomplishment, and it takes a lot of work ethic to get there. And I think we all know that it does, especially behind the scenes. It is not overnight success, right? It is a lot in between. So how many times did you appear on QVC? And I'm sure everybody's contract is different, but I was just curious.
13 times. I was on
this for you.
13 times over the course of about 5 years.
And obviously there was a massive uptick in sales, and you could see it. So how was that experience?
It was really exciting. It was a little bit scary too, because I didn't expect it to sell that well, and I didn't have enough inventory. So we were on in May, and I wasn't able to deliver the product until August because they were basically pre-orders. So unfortunately for me, by the time August rolled around, maybe some people had forgotten about it, but it ended up being fine. But it was successful, so they reordered. And at the time, I had just purchased my condo in Los Angeles, so I didn't really have money for the inventory. And I made a fatal mistake, and I used my 401k to pay for the inventory because it was a chance in a lifetime. So I ended up about a year and a half later getting a huge tax penalty. But sometimes you have to strike while the iron is hot. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, you have to go with the risk. And it was a risk, but I mean, I sold them all. It's just the penalty really wasn't great. And to be out of all that money on my 401k is a little bit scary. But on a bright note, luckily I bought my condo at the right time, and it's doing well. So.
Good. Again, you're touching on so many things because there are risks, Sue. And you not only have you invented this really cool product, but you've built a business. So with any business or with any product development, there's going to be risks. So I know that you appeared on, I'm just going to say it, you were on Shark Tank. So that just gives me just so much excitement again, because I just think you're nailing it, one after another. So when did that come about? Was it season 12, right?
It was season 12, episode 8, but I actually shot in season 11.
Okay.
And it's so interesting because when I was filming, I was bumped and filmed a little bit later because one of the groups had a child in their segment. So my space was bumped. And it's so interesting because that I was next. And when I filmed when I filmed, our episode didn't make it to air. But what happened is because of COVID, our archived episode made it out and onto season 12. And all of the people who followed me that evening also made it to air. So if you see season 12, episode 8, you'll notice that we're not social distancing, and we're all the people who came later that night. So it's interesting. So a lot of times it's just the luck of the draw and when it's shot. I'm guessing that's the reason why it didn't air. But for me, it was a blessing in disguise because, again, I didn't necessarily have enough inventory, because when I sold the night I did air, which was December 11th, 2020, I sold, gosh, probably over 20,000 units. So luckily, I had inventory because I had a year and a half to purchase the additional inventory. It was a huge success, and I ended up selling a ton over that weekend. And it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving, because I'm on MSNBC constantly for reruns, and every time it's on, I'll get a bump. And it's been a real blessing too, because when you're on a show like that, you have this just a different level of credibility. So it helps me to sell into retail. Sure. And also, I inherited this whole group of other Shark Tank entrepreneurs. So we share best practices, and there are a couple of us that meet a couple of times throughout the year. In fact, we usually meet weekly, sometimes bi-weekly. And let's say I have a problem, chances are someone else in the group has experienced it and they're able to help me out, and vice versa. So it's been a real wonderful thing to be on Shark Tank. It's been a real blessing.
This is amazing, because you're also kind of giving us a great segue into the importance of community, right? You're just now speaking of these other Shark Tank contestants, and you've built this friendship and community, and you're able to support one another, which is really, when we talk about the National Inventor Club or the Inventor Smart Community app, that's part of our mission as well. You know, our founder, Brian, who I know you've spoken to and you've met, and you guys have become really good friends, and he's helped you along the way with advice. And so how's it been for you to join the Inventor Smart community, or being part of the National Inventor Club, and meeting all of us other inventors at all different stages of development? And really, we're really happy to have you, because you've had such great success with your product, and you've done a lot of things that we haven't reached yet, or some of us have, some of us haven't. And you offer great insight and great mentorship. So tell us about that. What do you think about the Inventor Club?
I think it's a great club, and I love working with Brian. I learned so much through the community. It's really incredible. I love that you give us so much insight into different speakers and even competitions. I love watching competitions. My favorite episode was when you had Kathy Vidal, the director of the Patent and Trademark Office, on. I thought that was a phenomenal lecture, and I had met her a couple of months earlier. She did this event with Amazon where they interviewed 3 female entrepreneurs, and she is obviously a female director of the Patent and Trademark Office, which is pretty incredible. She has 2 electrical engineering degrees, and she's also a patent attorney. She's just amazing. But I just think the community is great. I loved that I was able to interact with her that night. I'm glad that Brian helps us out. And it's so funny because I'm actually working with Brian again on a project. Sadly, because of the advent of places like Temu and Alibaba, which is like the Wild West, and they think nothing of honoring your IP. And I recently had a knockoff. It's a terrible version, but I'm working to try to get it taken down through Alibaba and through Temu. I'm working with American attorneys, Chinese attorneys, because I have a trademark over there. Anyway, we asked Brian if he'd be willing to talk to Alibaba, because we told them some of the problems with their system on how to get a knockoff taken down. So we're trying to streamline it with them. So we asked Brian if he would help as well, because he has this amazing community, and I'm sure other people within your community have also been knocked off. So we now have a direct line to the executives at Alibaba, and hopefully Chase and I, he's my my VP of marketing. Hopefully Chase and I, along with Brian and some others from Shark Tank, can help to streamline the process and make it easy for others when they're being infringed upon. So for example, they're even stealing my image. They're stealing my picture, my videos. It's despicable. So we're trying to prevent that and help not only other Shark Tank people, but all inventors, because we paid a lot of money and invested a lot of
Yes.
time, sweat, and tears into our patents and trademarks and copyrights, so that needs to be protected. Otherwise, there's not going to be incentive for people to apply for IP protection.
Right. Now you're bringing up some excellent points, and I know that in the National Inventor Club meetings that Brian is bringing in all these guests and all these legal experts, and a lot of this discussion is happening more and more and more. And you're a real life inventor that's bringing your story to us as well, because we don't want people to be fearful, right? And go, well, it's just going to get ripped off, it's going to get stolen, I can't protect it, So it's important to know that there are things happening behind the scenes. And there are very smart people that are collaborating to make sure these other companies are following the rules and the laws that abide. And it is protecting. And I think the USPTO is also doing so much more work behind the scenes as well, working with independent inventors to make sure that these incidences don't happen. So perhaps we'll have you on at the Inventor Smart community or in the National Inventor Club, and then you could share more of this experience, because you're really giving us a lot this afternoon because you've done so much with your product. I'm just blown away, Kim. I'm so proud of you. It's amazing.
I appreciate that. I wish I didn't have to worry about this new situation, but it's going to help a lot of people. And it's funny that you would say that the Patent and Trademark Office has done so much. It's true. Kathy put me in touch with 2 attorneys there, who put me in touch with another 12 people there, who put us in touch with Alibaba and Temu and the FBI and even the White House. We've actually spoken to the White House to protect ourselves. And in the future, as soon as we're done, we've already drafted a letter for all of the inventors who have experienced a similar thing to notify their senators or congressmen. And we're going to have a list of speaking points as well, but the letter's already drafted. We just need to get together our speaking points. So I'll be sure to make sure I relay that information and provide it to everyone within our community here, so that they can also try to help to get legislation done to prevent this. Maybe it could be something where Alibaba and Temu are not allowed to sell into the United States, or something along those lines, or that they have to really implement a program where they make sure that they protect and honor our IP protection. So hopefully we'll do some good work. Hopefully we'll get this accomplished soon.
I love it that you're showing so much passion. And as an independent inventor, thank you for leading the cause and being an activist and a spokesperson for speaking out and up for people like me and for a lot of us in our community. So you are our spotlight for episode 6. I'm just really thrilled about it. And if everybody out there wants to learn more about inventing or what it's like to be involved with the community, hear more about Kim, definitely go to inventorsmart.com. You can go download the app at all your places where you download your app from Google or Apple Play. So where can we find your product now? I know you're in Amazon, Walmart, and on your website, obviously.
Yep, clickandcarry.com. We're in Lowe's.com and Kroger.com. And then our newest accounts are going to be Albertsons Safeway. We're just onboarding. So by the end of September, we'll be in Albertsons Safeways. It's just a test, but it's a great opportunity. We're going to be in Areas US, which are in all of the big airports and railway stations. Wow. And then I just had a really interesting meeting with Tractor Supply Company on Thursday, and they're thinking about a test as well. So I'm sending them samples today. And I'm hoping to get into Lowe's and Home Depot and actually Kroger for their delivery people. So I'm getting around there. I'm starting to infiltrate into the retail space. Oh, and Meijer. It's already in Meijer. So that's a grocery store in the Midwest, a grocery chain.
That's incredible. So obviously now you have a distribution. Did you start with having them in your living room and box up and mail yourself?
Yes.
Did you start by having them in your living room and mailing them out yourself?
I did. In fact,
I love this.
I'll send you all the links to my social media, and I'll send you some pictures. There's one in particular that is really funny, and it was right after I was on Shark Tank. QVC wanted to do a special, so I had enough inventory, but I didn't have the proper packaging. So I flew my nephew out and asked all of my friends to help me. I had 5,000 boxes in my living room. We took 3 click and carries off their normal packaging and put them in these QVC boxes, 5,000 of them. It took us about 2 weeks, but we did get it done. So I'll send you that picture because it's pretty funny, and it shows you the kind of things that entrepreneurs do on the back end because they don't want to let people down.
Yeah. I remember packaging my product, Yellow Dog Table, and had my sister fly in to Florida, and we set up these 2 6-foot-long tables. And yeah, I had to use a Dremel to cut an extra hole on a done product. And I remember we're in this, like, it's her and I, this little assembly line. I'm like, and I'd hand it to her, and we'd look at each other. I'm like, God, this is behind the scenes. And we did 1,000 units. So I can relate to that type of grit that it takes. And you look back on the photos, right? And you go, wow, I can't believe that's where we were there. And in that moment, you are creating something that in 3, 4, 5 years from now, you'll look back on, right? So I think that's really good stuff.
Thank you.
So let's wrap it up with, let me ask you this, Kim. What advice do you give young inventors, people just starting out, or if you got a product and you're working on it and you're 3, 4 years in and you're kind of like, I don't know. Talk to that person. What do you think?
Sure. So what I would say is don't listen to the naysayers. If you know you have a winner, just go for it. If you believe in it, go for it. Obviously, listen to their feedback. If they offer some great suggestions on how to make a change to make it a better product, listen to that, implement it. But what I would say is that there's so many amazing resources out there that are free for you to utilize to help you in your process. Number 1 would be the SBA or SBDCs. Number 2, SCORE. And SCORE is amazing because it's usually retired CEOs or accountants or patent attorneys or accounting attorneys, all kinds of attorneys who can help you and guide you along in the process, or at least refer you to someone who, can help you to get to where you want to be, but maybe inexpensively. Number 3, go to different colleges. A lot of times there are business programs. Sometimes they would use you as a part of the curriculum for the semester. For example, at Emerson this past semester, I had a senior class who did a PR project with Click and Carry in mind. So I ended up getting so much great information from these 5 brilliant girls. Let's see, what else? Oh, from the Patent and Trademark Office, their SBDCs, is that right? Yeah. No. Patent and Trademark Resource Center. So PTRC.
PTRS. Yeah, or PTRC. Yes.
Yeah. So Patent and Trademark Resource Centers, there's at least 2 in every state, and it's manned by these brilliant and educated librarians who know pretty much everything about the patent process, and what they don't know, they could refer you to local patent attorneys, or, for example, if you're doing research to see if your patent's already out there, instead of hiring an attorney, why don't you hire a law student? And they put you in touch with people like that. They'll help you to search to see if your product's out there themselves because they're brilliant. And there are a lot of great resources out there that you could utilize. You don't have to spend a ton of money because the resources are out there for you.
That is such really great, solid advice. It really is. SBCD, SCORE. These programs are free for the taking. Colleges and universities, they need, especially even high schools, they need some of that real life experience to do the drawings or the CADs. Right? Connecting to your resources. And most importantly, find a good inventor club through your social media. Okay, we brag about our club, the National Inventor Club, and of course the Inventor Smart community. But that was the reason Brian Freed built this app and built this community for us all to connect and use resources together. But listen, this is 2024. There's information out there so everywhere, and there's resources available. And yes, the USPTO office, people think it's unattainable and unreachable, and they have, just use the drop downs. There's so many resources and sources available from them as well. So Kim, you've been amazing today. I love your story. It's success. right? It's product success. And that's what we're all about. And there's so many of us here that are still developing our product or coming up with a new idea. And I know when this episode 6 airs, you're going to inspire us. Like, I'm fired up just by talking to you today. Really, I think it's fantastic. So thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. And I know that we're going to interview more together because there's more stuff. And thanks for being an advocate and a spokesperson for that legal stuff behind the scenes that not everybody can face. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. It's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate this fun conversation, and I'm really honored that you selected me for episode 6. So thank you.
You're welcome, Kim. All right. And we'll see you guys soon. And all right, clickandcarry.com. Great Christmas gift, present, all of it. I love this product. See ya.